Hello, everybody, and welcome to, bracket round, top 32, Dr. Bowser versus rdwalshv. I'm Goran1988, and I'm just going to explain a few things here. The mode is Ambrosia, and I'm going to say what's happened in the past with the tournament, so if you don't want to listen, tune your ears away now for about a minute. But so Dr. Bowser beat Illis in the round of 64. RD Walsh beat rdwalshv in the round of 64. They were both second in their groups with regards to group stages. And, they will be facing either one of them will be facing either structural mic or magnet hands. We'll find out about that. And that's it on that there. So, on that note, Dr. Bowser is 1-0 up, and I'm going to pass it over now to my co-commentator, Reg, who's going to explain a bit more about Ambrosia.
Yeah,
welcome, Reg.
Hello. Ambrosia is definitely a bit of an interesting mode here. We can see just right away on the file select screen, both of these runners have swords to start out with. Nice little piece of convenience there, but once the race gets going here in a couple seconds, we'll see it's an inverted start, which you kind of implied by the name Ambrosia. This means you start in the Dark World, you find your Moon Pearl, and that lets you not be a bunny in the Light World. There's been a few changes to the overworld to accommodate this, which we'll go over in a bit more detail once they come up. But you got your inverted start, you've got your starting sword, and the big keys, except for Ganon's Towers, we see the map check here, we see a Pendant, Skull Woods, 5-6 Crystals, Turtle Rock, and Swamp. But the other big parts of the mode, big keys are going to be in the general item pool, anywhere, except for Ganon's Tower, which is still in Ganon's Tower basement. And bosses are guaranteed to not have maps, compasses, or small keys. And we see Dr. Bowser going and just killing enemies, farming a bomb right off there for Hype Cave right away.
Yep. rdwalshv is farming bombs in Skullwoods. Dr. Bowser has found, quite a lot of things. The lamp, the cane of Burner, and some extra bombs. So that's definitely going to be helping on Dr. Bowser's side.
Yeah, on Walsh's side, we do see Skull Woods in an inverted start is normally the place where you farm bombs, because it's got those 2 guaranteed bombs under pots there that you can drop down into, but if you can get a drop-off enemies, get through Hype Cave, and then just pull 3 more out of that, then you can come right over here. You can do Stumpy. Dr. Bowser, 20 rupees short of being able to afford the Dig game, so probably see him play the Arrow game once, which is another inverted special.
So, I haven't seen much in Skullwoods on RD Walsh's side. Ether, so that's going to help perhaps with regards to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because actually, if you find the magic mirror, then it's pretty unlikely you'll need the medallion to get into Turtle Rock, because you can just mirror from the Light World back to the Dark World at somewhere like Spiral Cave, and that's an entrance to Turtle Rock. But Ether still, it's very nice to have if you're on a screen with a lot of enemies, because we do start with the sword. So, always convenient.
Yep. So Dr. Bowser is farming those rupees in the Arrow game, whilst RD Walsh is checking Hype Cave. So RD Walsh is going to get his Cane of Burner and his lamp here.
And the lamp is another one, because if you find the flute in inverted mode, this is another bit of difference between inverted and regular modes. You still activate the flute in the Light World, but you use it in the Dark World, which means that we can't use the flute for Death Mountain access without being able to get to the Light World first, which means that lamp plus glove is going to be mountain access. Of course, we don't have the glove yet, but the lamp is still half of that.
Yep. So, on Dr. Bowser's side, Dig Game was the Cane of Samaria. it's definitely good to see that item here because, well, actually, I'm just trying to look here. It'll be useful. I don't think it's necessary with that mirror turtle rock access, though.
It's always needed to reach
Oh, yeah.
Trinex. But there is a surprising amount that you can do in Inverted Turtle Rock with that mirror entry that we talked about without the cane. Like, you can get to Crystal Roller Room, you can get to the big chest, the lava chest, chain chomps as well, and Laser Bridge also. So that's the meat of the dungeon, but you still need it for both the boss and the full clear.
Yeah. I just thought of that. So, yeah, rdwalshv is getting rupees here, and Dr. Bowser is farming bombs. Well, got one bomb in Skullwoods and is going to go further into the dungeon here.
Yeah, 5 bombs in stock is not a terrible number. Not for Dark World, because really the only big bomb thing left at this point is the brewery in the Village of Outcasts. And there's actually a pair of 50/50 bushes right near it, too, that you can just get on your way in and out.
Yeah. I mean, what would you be thinking is in Village of Outcasts and Thievestown here? Because Thievestown should be fully clearable apart from that... Oh, well, sorry. No, I think you need the glove to get to Maiden's Cell as well, don't you?
No, the room with the block is a kill room, so you can just kill all the enemies and go around. But we are missing that big key. Haven't seen that yet.
Oh yeah, all the big keys are shuffled.
Honestly, what I'm expecting is probably like a glove and a moon pearl to send us up the mountain. And if we find both of those, that is actually Light World access via Aghanim's Tower. We don't need a Master Sword or a cape to break the barrier in Inverted. We just need a sword to cut the curtain at the end.
Yeah. rdwalshv getting 20 rupees off C house. And yeah, Aghanim's Tower has been swapped with Ganon's Tower in here, so... well, that's why our runners need to climb the mountain to get to the tower.
Yep, and the dark west side of the mountain was modified just a little bit to allow runners to reach it without having to go through the light world.
Yep, so... Well, rdwalshv is going to be checking chess game here.
Yeah, just doing everything in the village before going into Thievestown. Moon Pearl is a good pull. Doesn't do much for us quite yet, though.
Yeah, Moon Pearl in chess game, so... I mean, yeah. You were talking about that we need strength as well to climb up the mountain itself.
Right. And there it is.
Oh, gosh.
So obviously Walsh and then Bowser behind him when he gets into Thievestown. Gonna clear out the front 4 here. Can't go to the back without the big key, which means that we're not really gonna worry about the lack of a hammer here, having to orphan that big chest, because we can't get there to begin with. But after that, you would assume the mountain next for both runners. There are a couple of less logical options, though. Something that I know a good number of runners like doing is a kern jump. Because you start at the Dark Sanctuary in the northern part. Oh, never mind.
Oh, there is the big key of Thievestown in Thievestown. That's very unlikely.
Reasonably so, yeah, but at this point with Walsh getting it, gonna go to the back. It is a crystal dungeon, so playing the back, getting that crystal, not having to worry too much about it is a play that I'm very fond of myself. But it does raise concerns about that big chest. So we don't have a hammer.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a look now. Do you know how many items have we seen in Thievestown yet? I know that because keys are shuffled, it's technically 5, and big keys count as items.
Yeah, we've seen the map, but no small key, which would count that as a 3-item front. 3 out of 5. So there's one more item to be found outside of the boss, and then the boss is guaranteed to have one.
So yeah, if we see this item here, then we won't need to worry about the Thieves' Town big chest.
Similarly, if we see it in the cell, then that means that the small key is in the big chest, and we still don't have to worry about it. You see Walsh being real careful around these green crickets back here because they hurt 2 hearts of damage each just on contact. And oof, unfortunate there. They just would not get out of that doorway.
Yeah. We'll see if it affects Dr. Bowser in the same way here.
Yeah. Especially because we could kind of see Walsh. I don't even remember if you can use the Cane of Burna in a doorway, actually. He used it earlier to get through the Hellway, but didn't use it there to try to just power through. Maybe wanting to try to save some magic there just to have the cane for an emergency against Blind. Because that fight, we call it scripted, because if you do the same thing every time, you will get the same results. But it can pretty easily go off rails if you make just a slight mistake.
So Dr. Bowser coming up to the same place with 3 hearts. They aren't hugging the doorway as much this time. And yep, that was the compass there. So we'll just need to see if there's an item or a small key in the maiden cell.
Yep. If it's a small key, then the item is in the big chest, and we are forced to leave it behind. If it is an item, then the small key is in the big chest, and we don't really have to worry about it. But then that does raise a potentially interesting logical implication if Blind drops a valuable item. Because in that case, Blind would be locked behind the hammer. Although obviously we sidestep that by using our keys in the quote-unquote correct fashion.
If Blind is locked behind the hammer, then would we be expecting seeing the hammer soon enough?
Well, it really depends. If Blind drops progression, then I would say so. Yeah, I would expect the hammer to appear soon. But if Blind just drops like another piece of heart like we saw in that chest, then hammer, it doesn't really say that much about it because that piece of heart doesn't have any bearing on the logic and progression of the seed. It's just the crystal.
So we're coming up to Dr. Bowser versus Blind. And let's see if it keeps on script here. Dr. Bowser getting 3 good hits on Blind, just sword hits. Gets hit once, gets 3 more hits, and is now using the Cane of Burna. 1, 2, 3, and yeah, I'd say that was pretty much on script, so that was good from Dr. Bowser.
Yeah, definitely got off there with the hits he took in the second phase, but the Cane of Burna really cares very little about that. You turn it on and you just walk on top of the boss.
Yep. And yeah, that's Dr. Bowser's first crystal in about 12 minutes, and we're seeing rdwalshv doing the same here. Again, Blind pretty much on script, and that's rdwalshv's first crystal, so I'm guessing it's up the mountain now.
Yeah. The only other thing I can think of for these runners to do would be, as I mentioned before, take a kern jump and go visit Catfish and the Pyramid. But that's not in logic for them, while the mountain is, and they are quite close to Light World access, whether they do it through the castle tower or they find the hammer on the mountain. Or even Nits on the mountain would do it.
Yeah, so I mean, it is making me wonder whether this is an Aga seed or we're going to see some more progression here up the mountain.
Yeah, Aghanim is a bit more common in Inverted in general, but in Vrosia especially with the starting sword, you're definitely going to see Aghanim more frequently than you would in typical open or standard start seeds.
So Dr. Bowser now is taking the old man up the mountain. Of course, Dr. Bowser has to go into Light World in order to do this, so it's a slightly longer trip than it is in a, in a standard seed. And then, well, I guess we'll probably be seeing Spectacle Rock and Spectacle Rock Cave here.
Yep, we will be able to scout the top of Spectacle Rock, which we cannot get without Hammer. That was the map check. Our last pendant is going to be at Desert Palace here. Oh, that's a spot for the mirror. Because that is a location that, outside of Inverted, you cannot get to the top of Spectacle Rock without the mirror. But I kind of mentioned towards the start of the race, there were several changes made to the overworld to facilitate the Inverted start. And one of them is making all of those mirror spots, like Spectacle Rock, like the Graveyard Ledge, like that cave south of Haunted Grove, just making them all accessible from the light world without the mirror.
Yep. So, yeah, mirror on Spec Rock. Nothing from the old man, and Spec Rock Cave is a big key, so I imagine our runners will pick this one up.
Yeah, still plenty of big keys we need. The only one that we could pick up that we likely don't need for a Crystal Dungeon is Swamp Palace, because that dungeon doesn't have a big door. But the big key is still a check in that dungeon, so better to have it and not need it than not have it at all.
And that is the big key of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, we absolutely need that one.
Yep. So I'm just sort of thinking here. What do we need to? We have all we need to access Turtle Rock, don't we? Well, we need to get the mirror, don't we? And then,
if Ether opens it, we actually can go in the front door, but not likely to be very many checks we can do in there without a fire rod. And just with the fact that there don't have to be keys in the front at all, because you can just be expected to use the other entrances. For now, though, Dr. Bowser is going to use his Cane of Burna to get past the Lionels here and show us the Super Bunny Cave. And then probably check Turtle Rock after that, just because if it is Ether, that is still at least one check in the front.
so Super Bunny Cave, just 20 rupees and 10 arrows here.
Yeah. And Walsh is skipping the east side of the mountain entirely, going to go straight to Aghanim. This is pretty reasonable. I mean, we're seeing these two checks from Bowser and then Turtle Rock as well. It is information, but it is not super fast. So Walsh is just playing the I don't think it's their game. I'm just going to go.
Yep. And I didn't see what the medallion there was on Dr. Bowser's side, but Dr. Bowser stepped away quite quickly on that. So I'm assuming that's not Ether, and it seems as though Aga definitely is the play here.
Yeah, we do have Quake noted on the tracker for that, which shoutouts to Malkier, the tracker, for catching that, lighting it up. So yeah, we will be revisiting Turtle Rock, probably, with that mirror on Spectacle Rock, because at this point, the only thing blocking it is some sort of light world access to East Mountain, which could be either the hookshot or the Titan's mitts, and then the hammer. Once you've got both of those, that mirror is going to be accessible. And we see Dr. Bowser going with spin strats here, which are not going super quick, but there we go.
Alright, so, I mean, both our runners are climbing Aghanim's tower. Do we want to play a game, Raj?
Yeah, I mean, we can. the way that the Aghanim fight works, for anybody who's not super familiar with it, is that it works in cycles of 5 attacks. The first attack's always going to be like an orange magic shot that you can reflect. The next 3, second, third, and fourth, 50-50 chance of being that orange magic shot, or a blue ball that scatters when you hit it and that you can't reflect. And then the 5th attack is lightning. So it takes 5 reflected shots to defeat Aghanim, and how many of those non-reflectable blue shots are we going to see in that span of time? Maximum is 15, assuming the runners don't miss.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll soon see it on rdwalshv's side. Yep. It'll be the Aga fight. Wow. Roughly now is when it all starts.
Yep, and something important to note is that unlike the people who play the non-randomized vanilla Link to the Past and speedrun it, both of these runners are going to get the exact same attack patterns from Aghanim here. Unless they miss an attack, there's no time to be gained or lost in this fight.
It's of note here to say that Dr. Bowser is on low health, but has seen some, has found some hearts here, so Dr. Bowser isn't too bad. And I have counted 2 blue balls from Aghanim so far, and that one is a reflect, so that's it so far.
Yeah, 2 blue balls, 2 hits. It's not super friendly, but I think the numerical average for this is 3 usually.
And now we've gotten onto 3 right here. Oh, 4.
That's unlucky.
5? So I believe it's 3 hits so far. Now it's 4.
Yep. 50-50 chance that it ends on 5 here, or if it continues. Oh. But I miscounted.
So, yeah, that was still 5, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, well, congratulations Indifference Ninja and Chibi Kage for guessing 5. Get your free rando seeds, and I'm sure they won't be Aga seeds. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Or you could just play vanilla, where every seed is an Aga seed.
So, well, rdwalshv is now going to be checking the Hyrule Castle well drop down. Gets 3 bombs off of Uncle.
Presumably going to head into the castle after this, but could just avoid it for now and take any number of routes away from it.
Yep. And yeah, Dr. Bowser finishing up his Aga fight.
Yeah, and welcome to the Raiders from ALTTP Randomizer, coming from, I believe it was Orange versus Ascend. No spoilers on that race, I did not get to see the end of it. But the story of this seed so far, well, I mean, you can kind of see on the trackers, the runners climbed the mountain, they killed Aghanim, they are both now in the castle. We did have Thieves Town Big Key in Thieves Town, which was pretty interesting, but hasn't led to anything yet. Besides a crystal.
Yep. Also, as you can see on the screen, Dr. Bowser has won the first race in this, so if Dr. Bowser wins here, then Dr. Bowser will be in the best of 16, whilst rdwalshv needs a win here in order to get to the 3rd race.
Yep. It is winning in for Bowser, do or die for Walsh, and trying to think. I already lost track of what was in that first chest in the castle. Was it just the map? I feel like it was.
I couldn't tell you. I was looking at it. My mind just said it was nothing. It wasn't an important item. I think it might have been a piece of heart, but yeah, I can't tell you for certain.
And we have Walsh trying to setting up the Death Warp here. Dr. Bowser not well, maybe that's intentional, but yep, Death Warp there for Walsh. Gonna check Dark Cross. If it is the small key, they can proceed all the way to the back and come out the Sanctuary.
Yep, and then there's all those checks in Kakariko.
Yep. But really, I think if you're a runner here, you're really hoping for that small key. Well, if you're Walsh specifically, Bowser is not actually going to take it. It's going to go do Uncle and then presumably off to somewhere else. But the smoothness of just being able to do the entire castle sewers escape area in one shot, and then come out and route the North Dark World check or North Light World checks, excuse me, that can otherwise be a little bit awkward. It's just nice, but I'll take that too if I'm Walsh.
Yep, Walsh has gotten the bow off of Dark Cross. This is, well, very useful on RD Walsh's side. Eastern Palace is a crystal, and it is doable now. With regards to Dr. Bowser, I mean, there are 2 bows in the pool, so we'll be able to see how big RD Walsh getting that bow is. It is highly possible for Dr. Bowser to do back of escape and then go from the back to Dark Cross soon.
Yeah, especially since we know that the key for the escape will be in either the sewers or the sanctuary. So Bowser will have good access to that to just do that in reverse, but there is one more thing Walsh is missing to do Eastern Palace, and that is that big key, which we've still only seen the Thieves Town ones so far.
Yep. There's the mitts on the dam.
And mitts are very fun in Ambrosia because they seem quite useful to somebody who's not super into the mode because, I mean, regular standard and open seeds, you need them every single time. But in Ambrosia, you can bypass most mitts requirements with the mirror, which we did see on Spectacle Rock earlier. And the only thing that it just hard blocks is King's Tomb.
Yep. Although, yeah, King's Tomb can definitely be a check here.
Yeah, and the other part of that is that since we do know that the mirror is on Spectacle Rock, if we don't see the hookshot before the hammer, then those mitts actually become our way to get to that mirror.
So, RD Walsh only finding 20 rupees in the back of the brewery. In the bar, and Big Key of Dark Palace, and the flute in Mini Moldorm Cave.
That flute is just really nice, just to be able to fast travel. I doubt that it's going to be our required access to the mire area, although it could be, especially with the mitts in hand. That is a thing. Well, that actually, oh yeah, chat's also right. Flute logical access to the East Dark World right now, Palace of Darkness region, and the Pyramid. So yeah, it's definitely very nice to have at this point.
Yep. So the well does have the mushroom, so that is a fetch quest there. There's the ice rod, so again, something our runners will be happy they don't have to search for the seed.
Yeah, no ice rod hunt today. Still a couple items that we definitely very much would like to find that could be hiding in strange places, though. I think the fire rod, especially with Skull Woods being a pendant, and the flippers are kind of standing out there to me.
So, well, RD Walsh is in Blind's Hut, getting the Master Sword, the Big Key of Misery Maya.
Yeah, that Meyer Big Key is a pendant dungeon, unfortunately, but if we have to go looking in there, nice to have still.
So, Dr. Bowser's fake flippering here does see does see the third sword that we've seen on Lake Hylia Island. Because this is inverted, it's different here. Dr. Bowser could just pick it up, but then would effectively lose the fake flippers as much as I know on that.
Yeah, if he were to go grab that sword, he would be forced to save and quit. I could see him go and grab it on his way out here and just skip these Zora area checks for the time being. But it's a choice that he's going to have to make right here. Does he grab the Surefire sword, or does he go for the unknown Zora checks?
Yeah. So 300 rupees on the Lost Woods drop down. And yeah, RD Walsh is going for the mushroom spot, which is just a piece of heart. And Dr. Bowser is foregoing that sword.
Yeah, and I agree with that myself. Like, you know it's there. You can get back to it pretty conveniently whenever. Less conveniently than in normal modes because you don't have the flute. But taking these checks that might be progression and then coming back for that sword later when you have the flippers that you know are required because Swamp Palace, just grab it later.
So, yeah, there's nothing on Dr. Bowser or RD Walsh's side right now. There was nothing on Lumberjack Ledge, and I believe, well, it was 10 arrows on Lumberjack Ledge and a piece of heart and 20 rupees in the waterfall. And we'll get to see if Zora pays out right now.
We did see a bottle on the ledge, which is potentially interesting because we haven't seen any others so far. Oh, that's good.
Yep.
That ledge bottle, Dr. Bowser doesn't have any way to get it, so even if he wanted it, would be forced to leave it behind.
I mean, I'm just thinking now, well, let me see. Just thinking, is it possible to get that mirror now?
No, that mirror absolutely requires the hammer. There's no way to get to the Tower of Hera region, including Spectacle Rock and the Ether Tablet without it, in inverted.
So once Dr. Bowser finds a hammer, then, I mean, considering... Oh, just noticing I'm getting it mixed up on both sides. Basically, they're going to need one another's rods. Dr. Bowser would need the ice rod, and RD Walsh would need the fire rod in order to defeat, well, even go, and the hammer in order to go into Turtle Rock and defeat Trinex.
Right. It's also worth noting, RD Walsh did loop back around for Graveyard Ledge, but he got the key out of the back of the sewers and did not go for Dark Cross. He's not saving and quitting here, so I think he's going to trot back in and go for Dark Cross, but if he doesn't, then that bow is going to be missing for a while on his side. And yeah, he's not going, so that is a very, very isolated Dark Cross for RD Walsh now, and we know that it's got a bow.
Just noticing the track as though RD Walsh
does
have the bow, so...
Yeah, okay, sorry. I got it flipped up. Dr. Bowser's the one that skipped Dark Cross earlier. And Walsh is the one that already got it. So yeah, of course he didn't go for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, Dr. Bowser's in Paradox Cave, which isn't paying... Well, it's paying out rupees. It does give a bottle, though, so that's always good to see.
Yeah, bit of safety and that Sit Kid fetch quest. And then I believe I also saw a big key to Skull Woods there in the 2-chest section of Paradox Cave, which is another fetch quest, essentially. Though I don't remember how many items we saw in Skull Woods. There's only 2 in there, plus the 3rd will be on the boss. And I know we saw at least 1, I just can't remember if we saw 2.
Yeah, I know Ether was in Skull Woods. So also Floating Island isn't anything, and Dr. Bowser is going to be showing us Spiral Cave right now.
Yep. And if Spiral Cave is the hammer, then he'll be climbing Paradox Cave again to go get that mirror. And yeah, Walsh is showing us the splash deletion here. Because he's got the bow, he can just plink arrows into the wall and then drop some bombs. That causes him to jump in the water without splashing, which means that the game never says, hey, you can't swim. Unfortunately, just a second bottle for Bowser on the mountain there, so off to somewhere else. Which for him, presumably going to be, what, Kakariko area?
Yeah, and after Kakariko, we'll see if Dr. Bowser finds the bow and Dark Cross here, because with Kakariko, that might be a good time to route in Sanctuary and the back of Escape.
Yeah, combining it with Kakariko Lost Woods is definitely the best time to do it. It's still a little bit awkward just walking over there, but you can route it in with like Lumberjack as well to make it less bad. Now, where's Dr. Bowser going?
Just thinking, did Dr. Bowser do...
Oh, he's grabbing the Smith to take to the Light World with him. Because this is something, even though we normally use the mirror to reach the Smith instead of the mitts are still logical access to this. And he can just walk him right up to the Light World portal, turn him in while he's doing the rest of his CAC checks.
Yeah, so rdwalshv is going for Mini Moldom Cave here. Might go back to the dam, we'll just have to see. The dam does have the mitts here.
Yeah, Dam has the mitts. Mini Moldorm Cave has the Palace of Darkness big key. And honestly, since Walsh has already done the Zora area, I could see him just skipping Ice Rod Cave. Which would pay off pretty well for him with not really anything being there.
So Dr. Bowser getting that Ice Rod here from Cackwell. And rdwalshv is, well, is this going to Ice Rod Cave? Or is this a form of...
This is going to be Ice Rod Cave. If you're coming over here to Fake Flipper, you always do Ice Rod Cave in addition. So actually for Walsh, if he comes out and he Fake Flippers out of Ice Rod Cave, he'll grab the check off the guy under the bridge, and then he can also grab that what'll be a Tempered Sword for him on the Hylia Island. And then he can do Dam into the desert region afterwards if that's what he wants. And for chat asking, the mushroom was turned in. Yes, I believe it was just arrows.
I knew it wasn't an item, and I knew that it wasn't picked up.
Right. Oh, bombs. Bombs, arrows, same thing.
Well, get your salutes in for Dr. Bowser's flute activation here. Yeah, I guess I see bombs as rupees.
Yeah, and actually Walsh, instead of taking the water checks here, is going to use this whirlpool to go activate his flute himself. That way when he saves and quits back to the Dark World, he's got that fast travel option.
Yep, and well, that's rdwalshv activating his flute here.
Yeah, and Dr. Bowser running through the Kakariko checks, gonna actually spend a little bit on bombs, which is perfectly fine. He's got 600 rupees after having already paid Zora. So we'll see the Smith turn in here in just a minute. Actually, the Sick Kid check is new as well. So gonna show us 2 new checks in pretty short order here.
Yep. Well, I blinked and I missed it. What was the sick kid check? Because I don't believe we've seen
It
that
was just more arrows.
yet. Yeah, I mean, rdwalshv is now checking catfish. So I don't believe we've seen this check yet.
Nope. Flute is our logical access to it. And the runners didn't have that much reason to come over here before that.
Yep. The Smiths giving a piece of heart on Dr. Bowser's side. On rdwalshv's side, nothing from the catfish. Just 5 arrows, 5 rupees.
I mean, hey, if you're playing retro, then arrows, rupees, same thing.
rdwalshv has fluted to Maya. It's Bombos.
Yeah, so I think both of these runners probably hoping to just never see that Bombos and never have to touch that pendant dungeon.
And 3... You go?
I was going to say, the pendant for Meyer is green, and we have the big key already, so I do have a bit of a hunch it's going to show up. But still don't want to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. So 301 rupees in, well, in Misery Maya Shed. And we're seeing a pod play on rdwalshv's side.
Yeah, without the hammer, you can do everything in the dungeon except the boss. And at this point, I would consider it reasonably likely that the hammer just shows up in pod.
Yeah, the boss does have an item, but with Big Key shuffled in, it's still the 5 items in Palace of Darkness, so there's a load of density here.
Yeah, and we do have chat mentioning the mirror. We do know that the mirror is on Spectacle Rock. So hammer would be equivalent to the mirror in this case, because it would directly open it up with the mitts that Bowser has out of the dam. Of course, Walsh still doesn't have those, but they are available.
Yep. Dr. Bowser, there was nothing on Desert Palace Ledge. And yeah, it doesn't seem, because the first chest was a key that Parder's bow locked this time. Of course, rdwalsh having that bow, it doesn't matter to him, but it might matter to Dr. Bowser.
Yeah, especially because right now, the North Light World stuff and Dark Cross, where that bow is, a little bit awkward for Bowser. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Red Boomerang on Nagina.
Already Walsh getting that small key on the bridge and going straight to the back. Presumption is that he will clear out whatever's left in the front after doing this, and is doing it this way specifically because he knows that he can't kill the boss with the gear he has now, can't reach it either. So hammer more likely to be in the back just because of how loaded the front has to be with keys.
Yeah.
So he'll take, if he finds the hammer here, he'll take it, finish out the front, and take that to the boss.
Yeah, so we only found 50 rupees in, well, third chest checked here. I didn't see the second chest. Was that an item or a key?
It should have been a key. Yeah, it would have been the key that he just used to open up the Harmless Hellway here.
Okay, so rdwalsh getting a bottle now. And yeah, Dr. Bowser is just doing the Lost Woods checks, which I believe there's nothing in the Lost Woods currently, as rdwalsh is doing a bomb jump for Pod.
Yeah, Bowser picked up the stack of cash, and he's going to see the piece of heart here. And Walsh doing the Dark Maze checks, then going to take the death back to the front.
Yep. So, second chest is 10 arrows, so, well, Pod not paying out, but those 10 arrows could help with regards to the right side, although rdwalshv isn't doing the right side of Pod here.
Yeah, which is a bit strange to me. Skipping the vanilla big key, skipping the Stalfos drop down, and the 2 chests on the right side. And I think there's 2 items between them. I think. Might just be 1, but I'm pretty sure there's 2.
I'm pretty sure there's 2 as well.
But I think we're going to see the Eastern Palace area from Walsh here. Definitely going to see Sahasrara. And then presumably the dungeon itself afterwards. Can't fully clear it without the big key, even though we have that bow in hand.
Yeah, I was just thinking it must be 1 in between those checks, because there was 1 in the big chest, 1 in Dark Maze, 1 which was the Bartle, and 1 in the Rupee room that's right before Helmasaur.
Okay, then, yeah, just 1 item left between all those checks then. And there is that hammer for Walsh. That will presumably send him right back to Pod in pretty short order, because that is now full clearable. But gonna still check out Eastern first, even with no big key. And for Dr. Bowser here, did Sanctuary before the drop down here, so gotta assume Dark Cross is on the menu.
Yeah, so...
Yep. Sorry, go on. I think you were going to say the same thing I was, but...
Well, I was just going to say that Dr. Bowser is going for Dark Cross now, so we'll be picking up his bow.
Yep. And with rdwalshv having that hammer, that gives us the mirror as well, which means that item-wise, we're only really missing flippers and hookshot. We could potentially need the boots, but that's actually super unlikely with Pendant Desert. And we just need a ton of big keys still. We've got almost all the items, but almost none of the big keys. And chat saying the Quake Medallion, but this is inverted. We can just mirror from the light world back to the dark world and use alternate entrances for Turtle Rock. So Quake Medallion would only be needed with very, very strange key layouts in Turtle Rock.
I mean, you know, once rdwalshv gets those mitts and is able to get that mirror that rdwalshv knows is a Spectacle Rock, then he'll be able to just fully do, well, not fully do Turtle Rock, but clear Turtle Rock and defeat Trinex here.
Right, and it's just a matter, you gotta dig enough through it to find at least 1 small key if the boss is all you're interested in, which is probably gonna just be on Laser Bridge.
Now, on rdwalshv's side, I've seen the map and the compass here. I believe that 1 item is going to be locked behind that big chest here.
Yeah, the easy way to think about it, since Eastern Palace has no small keys, if we've seen the map and the compass, everything else is an item.
I mean, that is unless the Eastern Palace big key is in its vanilla spot.
Yeah, but that still counts as an item. But that is possible. We did see the Thieves Town big key 1 chest off from its vanilla spot.
I mean, that is the hook shot. So
that spares Walsh needing to get the mitts. Walsh does not need the mitts anymore unless there's specifically something in King's Tomb. Because this hook shot, Walsh can just use the portal on the west side of the mountain, hook shot over, and then just take that regular route with the hammer.
Yep. And yeah, the hook shot also giving us, well, hook shot cave. Let me just think about this. Yeah, it should give hook shot cave as well here.
Yes, but we're not going to see it until after the mirror, I don't think. Yeah, no. Because once you have the mirror, you can just mirror back to the light world and walk over to it, which is going to be a bit faster than going all the way over to Hookshot Cave and doubling back with no mirror.
Yeah. So, on Dr. Bowser's side, we're seeing purple chest, which I don't believe we've seen before. It is the book, so... well, Dr. Bowser is going for Bombo's tablet.
Yeah, it's right there. No reason not to. I'm curious whether he'll dive into Desert. He's still got a fair number of things he can do. But the book does open the Pendant Dungeon, and it is just kind of sitting right there. Also, that magic powder that was in Paradox Cave, I completely missed that when Dr. Bowser picked it up earlier, but that is another fetch quest we can do.
Yep. So nothing on Bombo's tablet on Dr. Bowser's side, and Dr. Bowser is choosing not to go into Desert Palace here.
Yeah, with it being a pendant, that is very reasonable. And for just a brief recap for chat, anybody who may have showed up late, the runners here pretty much converged directly on Aghanim's tower, which it's inverted, that happens. And then after that, Walsh found the bow in Dark Cross that Dr. Bowser didn't do immediately post Aghanim. He did get back to it pretty recently, but Walsh has cleared out all of Palace of Darkness except the boss. He got the hammer out of Sahasrara right afterwards, unfortunately, and wasn't able to clear that dungeon in one shot, but nothing of real note there. The big question mark at this point is there's a hook shot in the vanilla big key chest of Eastern Palace. And when is Bowser going to get there, especially if the big key doesn't show up? And it hasn't so far.
Yeah. Also, just noting here with regards to Dr. Bowser and rdwalshv, rdwalshv has orphaned one possible item in the front of Palace of Darkness. Now, rdwalshv would have needed to do 4 checks there, but if this is something good, and Dr. Bowser gives it, this might, be a good benefit to Dr. Bowser. And yeah, rdwalshv did get the flippers from Tower of Hera, so again, that's good on rdwalshv's side.
Yeah, so actually at this point, rdwalsh is item go mode, only missing keys. Unless those boots turn out to be required, but that would be pretty unlucky. But we will presumably see here what rdwalsh orphaned in Pod on Dr. Bowser's side. And also just see what he'll be getting when he goes back to that dungeon for that crystal in presumably not too terribly long. I would expect to see him do everything in Turtle Rock first. But and we saw one item, or, well, I guess technically 2 items counting the boss in here, or was there one in the basement cage too that I missed?
I mean,
or am I just completely off base here and there? We saw them all.
I only saw the flippers here, and Tower of Hera didn't have the... Yeah, I'd assume rdwalsh would have checked the chest in front of the big chest, which is something I didn't see, so if anybody could tell me here, well, thank you.
And in the meantime, here is going to be Hookshot Cave for Walsh. And then go back into that mirror portal and head right into Turtle Rock through one of its many back doors.
Yep. Dr. Bowser is also checking the right side of Palace of Darkness. And, well, Hookshot Cave having the cape, and I don't know if I saw a key. I believe I just saw a piece of heart.
2 keys, I think.
Oh, it was 2 keys then? Okay.
I think so, yeah. Sorry, I was trying to look at Walsh's screen too for those Hookshot Cave checks.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing here.
But regardless, nothing of real note in the front of pod either way. Walsh will pick it back up when he returns for the crystal, and no harm, no foul until then.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, Dr. Bowser is going to be doing the rest of pod here, and rdwalshv is doing Mimic Cave, and about to be doing Turtle Rock.
Yep. We'll be entering Turtle Rock at the big chest, and then probably going backwards looking for keys. Quite literally in this case, keys are all he needs, although many of them are big. And then head back around to Laser Bridge afterwards.
I mean, I believe if Turtle Rock is completed, the front opens up no matter what.
Yes, and that's right where you're spat out.
Yeah, so do you think rdwalshv, after clearing the dungeon, would use that to go to the front of this dungeon and clear out the front here?
Yeah, my expectation is that he'll check everything through Chain Chomps, and then check the front 3 chests as you described. And the big thing about doing it that way is that not going past Chain Chomps does save you a small key.
Yeah, it seems as though rdwalshv is going to top here this time, so... Yeah. Dr. Bowser is done with pod, so we'll just have to see where Dr. Bowser is going here.
Yeah, and ideally for him, it would be Sahasrara, because that's where the hammer is.
Yeah.
But that's kind of an annoying check to get to if you're taking the Kakariko Dark World portal. If you're taking the Aghanim portal, it's not so bad, but he's going to go kill Mothula for a pendant instead. And also, Chad is asking about rdwalshv's sprite. I honestly have no idea what it is, but if anybody in chat knows, or Goron, if you know, fill me in.
I mean, to me, I might be wrong on this, so forgive me, but I mean, I've seen a similar sprite that Kelpsy uses.
That does actually sound pretty familiar, yeah.
No. Yeah. People are saying looks like Pingu.
And we should also note, Dr. Bowser pulled a big key to Tower of Hera out of that Skull Woods big chest. We did see earlier, Walsh was able to sequence break it with the hookshot using Hera Pot, as there's the boot, so Walsh definitely in item go mode at this point. Just needs keys. But that's actually a pretty good find for Dr. Bowser, because the hookshot is in the furthest vanilla big key chest of Eastern Palace, which Dr. Bowser really doesn't have that much reason to go to right now.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at these big keys, are we only missing on rdwalshv's side the Eastern Palace big key? I mean, I think that's all it takes.
Actually, yeah, you're right, because we can sequence break around Ice Palace using either the bomb jump or using Icebreaker. Swamp Palace doesn't need it at all, and Ganon's tower is going to be in the basement of the tower. So yeah, Eastern Palace actually is it for Walsh at this point, because he already sequence broke around Hera's.
Yep. Mothula down, just a big heart there. And rdwalshv is facing off against Trinex. This is, well, Hammer Trinex here.
Yeah, a not very frequently used strat of prioritizing the Ice Head over the Fire Head. Normally, speedrunners prioritize the fire head because it comes out first and you can mostly kill it while the ice head is coming out. And then you can kill the ice head fast enough to avoid any ice getting on the floor. However, when you're fighting with the Master Sword, or you're not super confident in your hammer fight, which it is a big pain to do this fight with the hammer, even if you're good at it, prioritizing the ice head can very much minimize the amount of ice that gets on the floor.
So that's rdwalshv's, well, third crystal there, being Turtle Rock. It is a 5/6 crystal, so again, just thinking, Swamp Palace should be in play here, so it's possible to get that Pyramid Fairy.
Yep, it looks like rdwalshv might be playing ice first, but can do both. The only crystal he can't do at this point is Eastern Palace, as we've mentioned with that big key. And as far as items in Hera goes, since chat's asking about it with Dr. Bowser having that big key, I unfortunately cannot recall, to be honest, whether there's... I know we saw the flippers in there, and we saw an item on the boss, because this is Ambrosia, but there is somewhere between 0 and 1 items left.
Yeah.
And yeah, Dr. Bowser with Splash Delete, there's a very large number of ways to do that. Most of them center around the bow, the Cane of Samaria, the Ice Rod, and the Red Boomerang. But just when you see one that you don't see every day, it is quite cool.
Yep. So, yeah, Dr. Bowser has now gotten that third sword, which is... There is a huge difference between Master Sword and Tempered Sword here, so we'll see how much it helps Dr. Bowser here.
Yeah, especially since it's in a place that is now pretty awkward for rdwalshv to get back to. Because without the mitts, rdwalshv can't just hit the portal right outside Ice Palace and go grab it there. He's gotta go all the way around. Meanwhile, where is Dr. Bowser going now? He's got that hammer, and he's not going to Eastern Palace. So we'll continue to miss out on the hook shot, but unless the Eastern Big Key is in Swamp, that's not really going to hurt him too much, probably. And there's Bombos on Walsh's side. We can get into and fully clear Mire now for that green pendant.
Yep, so that's 4 items in Misery Mire here.
Okay, so Bowser turning in the mushroom here, which is not really anything of note. And then will it just be the save and quit after that, or... I don't know. Okay, yeah, save and quit. This really should be the mountain to get the mirror for Dr. Bowser.
Yep. Chat are asking where were the boots at? I believe they were Laser Bridge.
They were very much Laser Bridge. And this is going to be Walsh's 4th crystal here with, what was that, like 3/4 of a magic bar to fire Ice Rod at. Yeah, these falling ice chunks are not playing real well for Walsh. Good news is Blue Mail means that when he does unintentionally face tank Cold Stare there, it's not too terrible.
Yeah. So Dr. Bowser is now going into... well. I'm guessing this is Tower of Hera maybe on Dr. Bowser's side with that big key. I was thinking...
Well, grab the mirror as well since it's over on Spec Rock, but yes. That would be my expectation too. Yeah, that is now 4 crystals for Walsh, Hera, Thieves Town, Ice Palace, and Turtle Rock. Did kill a Trinex earlier with the Ice Head focus strategy.
So we'll need to see if there is an extra item in Hera. And Dr. Bowser getting that book out of the purple chest. If this is the Eastern Palace Big Key, this is huge for Dr. Bowser. It's a mail upgrade.
I'm trying to remember where Walsh got his mail upgrade, but I cannot remember.
I sadly can't either.
Walsh will be getting the mitts right here while opening up Swamp Palace, which does have the boot, so he can go do the King's Tomb if he's looking for items, but otherwise didn't really need them.
Yep, Dr. Bowser is now getting those flippers here. And is climbing up Tower of Hera. Normally does not have the mirror. Sorry, the mirror that does not have the hook shot here for a Hera part.
Yep, which does force the use of the normal strats here. And really at this point, the big question that'll really make or break the seed is the Eastern Palace Big Key in Swamp Palace.
So yeah, there is an item in the basement or the big chest. The big chest having that small key. We'll see if Dr. Bowser goes for Hera basement here.
Yeah, because that's very easy to justify skip in a race, even in a situation like this.
But yeah, the difference here. Well, yeah, it is just answering chat. It is, as chat says, the Eastern Palace Big Key hunt, specifically on rdwalshv's side. rdwalshv has also found the hook shot in Eastern Palace, so that's the difference there. And well, it's just, in my opinion, rdwalshv has just found the useful items a lot quicker, so does have a bit of a lead here, I'd say.
Yeah, Walsh has generally been clearing more efficiently and has been focusing more on the crystal dungeons. Like we see Dr. Bowser has the Skull Woods clear, which is nice, except unless the Eastern Big Key is down in this Hera basement, it doesn't mean too much. Because that that Tower of Hera's small key was in the big chest. Already Walsh still does not have the Tower of Hera big key, which is in Skull Woods. So if something is in this chest that Dr. Bowser's waiting for, and the only something really left at this point is the Eastern Palace big key, and that could be pretty big, as Walsh gets a little bit baited. Desert Palace, though.
Yeah, that happening as soon as chat asking, did anybody check PED? Nobody has checked PED yet. And yeah, PED wasn't an option until rdwalshv picked up that Desert Palace Big Key in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, but now between the two runners, PED is very much an option. Is that Quake Medallion not going to need it? We have fully cleared Turtle Rock, I believe. I don't think there's any items left in it.
I didn't item count. I didn't think rdwalsh did the front, but I might be wrong on that one.
I don't think he did either, but if it was just keys in there, then there would be no need to do it to begin with. Because, yeah, as far as just killing Trinex goes, one small key right there, all you need. And the boots for Dr. Bowser shouldn't be necessary as far as clearing the seed goes, but always the chance that they're needed in Ganon's tower, and just running fast is nice.
There is also the possibility of that Eastern Palace Big Key being Bonkrok's or King's Tomb.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah. rdwalshv has gotten his 5th crystal, that being Swamp Palace.
Yeah, and where's he going to go from here? I thought he was going to head right up to the bomb shop and grab the super bomb, which, yeah, it looks like that is the route, just lifting the rock and going that way instead.
I don't believe we've checked Pyramid Ledge either, so I believe this is 3 checks.
Oh, come to think, I do think you're right on that, yeah. And we see here on Dr. Bowser's side, just with that Tempered Sword, still some ice on the ground, which does match what Walsh did, but got the same result as far as that goes while prioritizing the Firehead, and generally had a faster time of it, and much easier time of it as well. And I did not see the ledge at all, but Walsh didn't grab it, so...
Yep, and nothing on Pyramid Ferry. Yeah, that's, well, that should be Dr. Bowser's 3rd crystal. Dr. Bowser has done Tower of Hera, and Dr. Bowser is entering the front.
Yep, and presumably just going to clear Turtle Rock from the front here. And yeah, chat saying it was just jump change on the Pyramid Ledge, so... Where's Walsh going now? He has already done Eastern Palace. He didn't grab the big key while we weren't looking, did he?
No, he didn't. I'd assume this is because of Pod, and then if there's a big key in Pod, then yeah.
Yeah, I forgot inverted for a moment. Wrong direction on the mirror, but that is, since like you can't normally do Pod this way, like just routing your way to the front door. But since he had already paid Kiki to open the dungeon, wouldn't have to retreat and go back and get him, so you can very much do this.
Yep, so front of Turtle Rock on Dr. Bowser's side, and the front of Pod, well, and Pod itself, Helmasaur, on rdwalsh's side. Yep, so nothing in the right 2 chests on Dr. Bowser's side. Now we've seen that there's just 2 keys on the right side here.
Right. And a compass in the Stalfos basement drop down. And actually it was on Turtle Rock. It was, I think, map on the left chest and then compass plus key on the right. So Walsh not needing to skip it at all, really. Or, I mean, not needing to check it at all. Was counting his items. And for chat asking about the hookshot was in the vanilla big key chest of Eastern Palace, which only RD Walsh has been to Eastern Palace so far, with us hunting that Eastern Palace big key for our Go mode item.
Yep. So Dr. Bowser checking Mimic Cave. We've checked this one before. And I think this is the middle of Turtle Rock as well, which hasn't been done on Dr. Bowser's side, whilst... Well, is the Eastern Palace Big Key on Helmasaur? We'll be seeing soon on rdwalshv's side.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, the big key, or the big chest in Turtle Rock is the only one that Bowser has not checked that has an item. I know that the lava chest in the middle was just a key.
And yeah, to answer chat here, the book is purple chest.
Book is purple chest, and the most interesting thing we've seen behind it so far is just armor on the ether tablet. Oh, never mind, there was an item in the crystal roller room. But Dr. Bowser knows now he's done with this dungeon.
Yep. So, a piece of heart on Helmasaur, and that's rdwalshv's 6th crystal. Yeah, it's just, where is that Eastern Palace big key? I mean, we haven't seen Desert Palace or Misery Maya yet.
Walsh cannot get into Desert at all without that book, so it's gonna be Meyer. But yeah, at this point, I don't think Artie Walsh has any overworld locations left outside of these desert ones. And I guess actually, yeah, Spike Cave is still on the table as well. That's a bit awkward.
Yep. And chat is saying, or Ped. Yes, Ped is a possibility here.
Boots checks as well. We haven't seen Bonk Rocks on either side, and they do both have the mitts now, so King's Tomb, Walsh could get it. So yeah, it's Bonk Rocks, King's Tomb, Agina here that we know isn't anything of note. And then pick your poison on Pendant Dungeons.
Just noticing, rdwalshv, did he, because, well, I believe chat's asking this as well, which did remind me. Did he do left side swamp?
No, actually, I don't think so.
Yeah. Chat was saying specifically, did rdwalshv do water checks? I think I've seen both runners. I was thinking of left side swamp whilst chat was saying it, but I believe both runners have done all the water checks here. I mean,
actually, Artie Walsh did the Zora region, but he has not done the bridge or the Hylia Island. So yeah, I was just he's got a handful of overworld checks left. And we're seeing competing pendant dungeons here. Green Pendant Mire on one side, regular Pendant Desert on the other. I think Desert going to be a significantly faster clear, even if it is taken all the way to the boss. But the odds are pretty close here. And remember, Dr. Bowser still looking for 2 items. Needs that Eastern Palace big key, of course. Also needs the hook shot, which we know is in the back, well, not the back, but the far depths of Eastern Palace.
Yep. So, first item in Desert is the bug net.
And chat pointing out that the Desert Big Key was in Swamp. Bowser doesn't actually have it, so never mind, sorry. Got ahead of myself there.
Yeah, I think I did as well. So, yeah, I mean, Dr. Bowser can't check more here.
It is going to be Ice Palace, though, for Dr. Bowser now.
Yeah, if there's something in Desert Palace that was locked behind that big key, that something being that Eastern Palace big key, that could be big.
Yeah, but that's tricky because will Dr. Bowser get the Desert Big Key, or will Artie Walsh get the book first? That's what it would come down to.
I guess considering, you know, Dr. Bowser is doing Ice Palace here, and, you know, we'll have Swamp Palace later in this. I think probably Dr. Bowser, you know, has a guaranteed getting of that Desert Palace big key, whilst rdwalshv might be checking all around Hyrule. So a lot of this can depend upon where that Eastern Palace big key is, actually.
Yeah, like that is the big make or break for the race at this point, because I don't think Dr. Bowser goes to Swamp without the hook shot. And I'm not sure at this point that he goes to Eastern without the big key. which ultimately means he doesn't go to Swamp without the Eastern Palace Big Key unless he's forced to. At any rate, we did see RD Walsh got Half Magic plus Shovel as 2 items in the front of Meyer. Boss is going to have the 3rd, and then at some point he can go turn in the Green Pendant for a 4th here.
Yeah, so shoveling Green Pendant is probably what RD Walsh V is working on here. I was actually thinking, have either of our runners checked Magic Bat yet?
Nope. Which we did get the powder in Paradox Cave, but we didn't get the hammer until a fair bit later, and I don't think either runner has just really been back to that area at all since.
And Vitreous is down. Vitreous just giving a piece of heart here. So, Green Pendant and, well, the shovel on RD Walsh V's side. We'll see if they come into play.
Yep, and just to recap for Chad a bit, asking how Walsh did Turtle Rock without Quake. Inverted is a little bit different in that you start the Dark World and you mirror from Light World to Dark, and you can take advantage of that to get to any of Turtle Rock's other entrances, which means that you only need Quake or Turtle Rock if the mirror is entirely missing, or if the key layout is very, very weird.
So, well, that is Dr. Bowser's, well, 4th crystal here. RD Walsh V picking up that Green Pendant. It is the big key of Ice Palace!
Oh,
which
no.
could lead to the Eastern Palace. Wait, could it?
Yes, it could. That Eastern Palace Big Key can be like anywhere outside of Eastern Palace or GT at this point.
I was just thinking, I wasn't counting items in Ice Palace. Is there an item in the big chest of Ice Palace?
That is true, the item count. I don't have that. I'm not completely sure on that. I've been very bad about that today, which I am sorry for.
It's fine. I can't easily item count myself, so, you know, you're far better than me.
We do have chat saying that they're pretty sure Ice Palace is exhausted. So that's not bad then. We're not going to be seeing the runners... Oh, there we go. It's just in King's Tomb. So hey, hard required mitts this seed.
Yep. Hard required mitts. And boots are required as well. King's Tomb.
Yeah, and that would actually be a pretty good location for Dr. Bowser, having the mitts already. Except just, there's not really a good time for him to go back there at this point. Presumably it would be after Meyer, like RD Walsh did. You turn in the Green Pendant and then you loop in the boots checks after. But that still puts him quite behind at this point.
Yep. I mean, definitely with this, RD Walsh V only has Eastern Palace left, whilst Dr. Bowser has, well, Eastern Palace and Swamp Palace left, but has to make his way to King's Tomb in order to get that big key, and then, of course, getting Eastern Palace big key, Dr. Bowser will most likely get the hook shot in Eastern Palace.
Yeah, like when Dr. Bowser, even if he gets the Eastern Big Key straight away here, will still be looking for items, won't be in go mode yet. So it's very likely that he will not miss that hook shot in Eastern. If he does, then so it goes, but he doesn't have any reason to skip that check. But it is very true that RD Walsh is in an incredibly commanding position here. Because he'll be 7 crystals after he kills the Armos Knights. and then save and quit will put him right at the front door to Ganon's Tower.
So yeah, rdwalshv defeating enemies in the room right before Almost Knights, defeating those two red Igors. rdwalshv versus Almost Knights. So rdwalshv putting 2 hits to the left, the rest up top, and gets a really good Almost Knights there. Gets the silver arrows, and that's his 7th crystal. And yeah, do we want to play another game, Reg?
There are 22 locations in the basement of Ganon's Tower that can have the big key. Go.
I'll go for 8 as I normally do.
Yeah, I like the number 10. And I would also like to point out that rdwalshv never actually checked the Lake Hylia Island, therefore never got that tempered sword on it, and therefore silver arrow is very, very nice to have.
Yeah, I mean, that stops, what, 24 spins or something like that?
Yep.
So, number 1 was that small key on the torch. And going up to Stalfos room, number 2 is a shield, number 3 is the 3 bombs, number 4 is 3 bombs, number 5 is the compass, rdwalshv is mirroring out.
I feel like 0 keys in the Stalfos room is very rare. Hardly ever see that. Meanwhile, Dr. Bowser, Vitreous down, that is the green pendant, which we know that the turn-in is not super valuable. Ice Palace big key when we got all the items in ice without it. But hopefully that puts him on the path to King's Tomb afterwards, which will take him to Eastern Palace and Go Mode.
Yep. Well, so we're probably seeing that now. On rdwalshv's side, we've seen number 6 being a small key, number 7 being a piece of heart. So we're going up to 8 to 11 here. rdwalshv going for number 8, that is 3 bombs, number 9, a small key, number 10, a piece of heart, and number 11 is the big key.
Yep. So, did anybody in chat? Yes, we've got a Sounder fan set 11. Good job, you guessed the number. And for rdwalshv, at this point, it is just a mad dash to the finish. And meanwhile, we see Dr. Bowser here going straight into Eastern Palace. No Eastern Big Key in hand, but will not be missing the hook shot at least.
Yep, and yeah, rdwalshv is now doing the climb of Ganon's Tower. Dodging all those Igors, is going into Cannonball Ganon's Tower, and is walking past them splendidly.
Yep, and just using the Fire Rod to kill the Stalfos in 1 hit. Not using it on the horse heads, not going to wait for them to burn, because that is slow.
Yep. Dashing and killing those Stalfos there. And killing the horse heads here, but got 1 or 2 hits from the Beamos.
Yeah, and these rooms are just, they're tricky, especially because they never go quite the same way. Like, every time is just slightly different. And we see there, things that have more than bones on them do take a couple seconds to burn.
So, rdwalshv versus Lammo 2, that's 3 silver arrows here. I'm
Yep.
just
Pretty much perfect on that, the so-called zero cycle. Just getting them all when their heads peek out.
Yep. And, well, he picked up 5 arrows from one of the parts afterwards, and just using a Cane of Samaria shot against the first Wizrobe room, getting a Cane of Samaria shot and a hit on the second one.
Yeah. Cane of Samaria as a weapon is usually really bad just because it's really awkward, and it does fighter sword tier damage. But Wizrobes will die to fighter sword tier damage in one shot, and they just so happen to be positioned perfectly in that room so that one cane explosion will hit at least 3 of them.
So
Dr. Bowser, meanwhile, ended the Helmosaur King, and that is going to be his 5th crystal.
Yep, just Swamp and Eastern Palace left on Dr. Bowser's side. rdwalshv is, well, getting to Moldon 2, still doing a few checks, looking for that 3rd sword for a bit of safety here.
Yeah, just Tempered Sword is expected value positive on Time here. Like, the odds of it being a Tempered Sword compared to the time you lose checking them, you will come out ahead on average with that. So definitely very reasonable checks here. No reason to skip them just because you can win the game on Master Sword.
Yep. And, well, rdwalshv did get something that wasn't a sword, but will prove just a little bit of a relief here. Got 10 arrows off the last chest, so that's going to be a bit of a relief with regards to the final phase of the Ganon fight.
Yep. All right. Oh, nice triple there on that first Aghanim cycle. But Walsh already did have 8 arrows, which it only takes 4 to kill the last phase of Ganon. 8 is generally comfortable enough, but having just that extra pack lets you mean that you don't have to care at all about potentially misfiring.
Yep. So that was, I believe, a 3-0-1-2 on rdwalshv's side, and Ganon emerges from Aghanim, and well, it's time to face Ganon on rdwalshv's side.
Yep. Insert some grumbling about how the so-called Sword of Evil's Bane can't just slash Ganon, because that would make sense if it could. And for Chad asking about the hookshot, it is actually going to be in the next chest that Dr. Bowser opens. It's still a couple rooms away, but it is in the Eastern Palace Big Key chest coming up here.
Yep. So rdwalsh using some spins on Ganon. Ganon on first phase at the moment.
Yep, and each of these first 2 phases are going to be 12 spins each, as Dr. Bowser picks up that hookshot. Does not put him in go mode. He is still missing the Eastern Palace Big Key, which is in King's Tomb. But with all of Swamp Palace now open to him, he has very little reason to go there.
rdwalsh dodging the fire bats here. On second phase, I haven't counted how many it is, but it appears as though, well, yeah, Ganon's in 3rd phase now.
Yep. Kind of warping around a lot here, which is pretty annoying, but Walsh keeps up with him at every step.
Yeah, it is the same for both our runners, so and it's not going to influence it any one way or the other, but yeah, Ganon is loving teleporting today.
Yeah. Good news is that very much like the Aghanim fight, runners do not save or lose time on the Ganon warps, because they're going to be the same for both runners.
So that's 1 silver arrow on Ganon. 2... The lights are out. rdwalsh has to use the fire rod.
Stopped himself from getting a silverless hit in there.
One more hit. And yeah, that is Ganon down on rdwalshv side. Get your GGs ready in chat.
And yep, that is RD Walsh across the finish line with a time of 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 22 seconds. And that will bring us to a game 3 between these two.
Yep. So, I mean, yeah, brilliant runners. And I think we're seeing here that Dr. Bowser does give a forfeit here. There being 2 dungeons, then Ganon's Tower, and, well, then everything else there. It makes a ton of sense here.
Yep, and we will see. Yeah, I think runners will be joining us in fairly short order here.
Yep. But, yeah, I mean, Eastern Palace, Big Key, and we're joined here by Dr. Bowser. GG's, Dr. Bowser. Just to clarify, you are muted here, Dr. Bowser, so whenever you're ready, if you want to.
Maybe a slight bit of technical issues. We'll try working through them. Please hold.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, just to kind of recap the race a bit in the big picture for anybody who showed up late or even just showed up at the very end, we did have a race where both of the runners kind of converged on Aghanim relatively early. And then ultimately what it came down to, they broke sync there. They diverged pretty wildly, but RD Walsh checked Eastern Palace alongside Palace of Darkness, got the hook shot, and that set him up in a good position when it came down to Eastern Palace Big Key Hunt later, because it was just generally more efficient. But I think we might have Dr. Bowser with us now.
Yes. GG.
Yes, GG's and welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, in general, Dr. Bowser, how did you find this seed?
It felt pretty okay up until I started finding threads on the route that obviously did not pay off, and I really wanted that mirror. We were discussing a little in the chat. It sounds like he may have gotten Hammer before Mitts, and I was the other way around. So that informed a lot of decision making.
Hammer and Hookshot both before Mitts on Walsh's side.
Yeah. I mean, by the time the Hookshot showed up, I was already kind of just waiting for the dot done. After the I think it was the Ice Palace Big Key showing up on Green Pennant, I was just like, well, I wondered how in logic that was with Bombo showing up in ice. I couldn't quite remember which side it was on in the key logic, so kind of cleared things up, but not in the greatest way.
And we do have Walsh joining us as well. GG's, congratulations, welcome.
Yo, GG, thank you. And yeah, GG, Doc.
GG, Walsh. Well played.
So, I mean, rdwalshv, how did you find this seed?
It was kind of interesting. Man, I'm a little bit over-caffeinated, not gonna lie right now. So yeah, it was like a little bit of nerves in the beginning. Like, I took a really dumb death in Thieves Town. Like, usually I just know to, like, you know, if you just like go through that door in like the attic, like before the bomb floor room, like you usually have no problem. But like that, I just like had a little bit of hesitancy, and yeah, but like after that, I don't know, like everything just started to click in place, sort of. Like Light World kind of took forever to get through, but that's kind of in road. But like after you get the Hammer and Hook shot, like I think it, I don't know, I think it went pretty well for me. Just yeah, it felt a lot. Like, I'm surprised this was like a 133 or whatever it was. Like, it felt a lot slower than that.
Yeah, because it kind of came down to a single big key hunt at the very end, especially for a dungeon that you had already otherwise cleared out long ago. That did. I agree that that made it feel a little bit slow, but it is what it is.
Just noticing something that just amazed me when I was looking on your side, rdwalshv, is that did you count all the items in Turtle Rock and find out that the front was nothing? Because I believe I didn't see you check that, and we saw that on Dr. Bowser's side, and we were just like, oh, I was like, oh, so there is nothing at the top of Turtle Rock.
I was counting items, yeah, and same thing with pod. Yeah, I'm just gonna talk about my pod router, even though you didn't bring that up. Like, I usually rush the back of pod for like cases like this, where like, because like usually the front is just gonna be 4 keys, so like if all you get is like 1 or 2 of the dungeon items up front, like you can save a little bit of time on the redip. So yeah, just like rush the back and like got all 5 items. Like, oh cool, so I'll just come back with a small key later and save and quit. But yeah, in Turtle Rock, I'm really glad that Moldorm had bombs, because like my route to there, like I usually like to do the middle part first, and then I'll go to Laser Bridge from the Crystal Roller Room, because like I think that's a little bit faster than like going all the way through Paradox Cave just to like get to the Laser Bridge drop down. So yeah, I was keeping track of the item count for sure, and yeah, like getting boots and whatever the other item was, not boots, off Laser Bridge. It's like, okay, cool, I don't have to do the front. That's great, thank you, game.
Yeah. So I guess the question that I'm most curious about here, and no problem if you don't have a good answer for it, but has Game 3 been discussed at all? I don't see it on the schedule right now.
Not so far. We'll have to schedule that probably here in a couple minutes.
And yeah, I'm probably just gonna go back to the thread, yeah.
I mean, just thinking, because we thought it might be a major difference between both of you. And I've forgotten who found the bow first, but what were you thinking of that bow and Dark Cross? And later, of course, we found out that that bow was hard required because the other bow was on Almost Nights, which we saw on your side, rdwalshv.
For me personally, that bow kind of pushed me away towards the eastern area, because like once you get the bow, like, obviously you really want the eastern big key before you go back to there. And I mean, if you really wanted to, you could have found the eastern big key before you got to eastern, but it would have taken some doing. Yeah, like I just didn't want to like go to eastern area, but like it's always rough to get to eastern area in Verdia. Like I always say that I'm gonna like do at least Saha early, and then I never do, and then it's always the hammer. So yeah, like I was happy to see that bow, but I don't know, it's kind of like pushed me away from the progression for a little bit.
Kind of a similar effect here. It actually, it pushed me more toward pod and away from Eastern, because you're only 1 item away from being able to full clear that. So, on the other hand, double dipping pod in this mode, you almost kind of expect it sometimes. And I'm still looking for the hammer. I'm thinking, okay, well, hammer and pod, that's the classic.
Yeah, it's a classic. Of course, it's gonna be there. I was kind of shocked when nothing but a bottle was in there.
Oh yeah, that was so worthless.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that I definitely saw on your side, Dr. Bowser, and I don't believe you did see this, rdwalshv, but technically I believe it was the second sword we saw, but it was the third sword picked up. There was a sword on Lake Hylia Island. What were your thoughts about that, Dr. Bowser? Because I knew that you didn't have the flippers at that time, so you were fake flippering when you saw it. You did get it eventually, so.
Yeah, I didn't have a nice way to like splash delete at that point, and I considered taking or walking out of Zora to go get it, but then I get the fire rod, and so I didn't have the water walk anymore. And on top of that, at that point, I was my entire focus was that mirror up there. I really hope I can go get it now. So I just figured I would come back for that later.
Yeah, because the flip side to that, Walsh, I don't think you ever checked the hobo under the bridge or the Hylia Island at all, right?
I did not. Yeah, like with late flippers, it's always hard for me to like get back to that check. Like if I got in the midst before like, early. Like, I could have at least, like, pulled up the rock and got and like done those checks after Ice Palace, but I skipped the mids early. Yeah, I just wanted to do like Mini Moldrum Cave and Ice Rock Cave, and then like maybe after Eastern area, I was gonna do Dam into Checkerboard and Agina. Like that just kind of like felt like the smoothest way to do it. But yeah, like that would have been a nice sword to have. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it did ultimately work out well enough for you, but Tempered Sword always more fun than not.
Yeah, I think I was able to pick that up before having to go into Turtle Rock to do Trinex. So that was my main thought, and going to get it early, even though it was a little out of the way when I did.
Actually, yeah, that reminds me. That was something I wanted to shout out Walsh in your Trinex fight, the Ice Head focus. Just doing it with the hammer. I like that a lot, so I wanted to just shout it out.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Because it's one of those things, if you can't quickly do the fight with the Tempered Sword, then the next best thing is limiting the amount of ice on the ground.
Yeah, some of that was just like, so I don't usually play with like I'll plug headphones into my desktop and I'll have them just in case I need to do Mire Dark, but for the most part I'm not really listening to game audio, so I didn't actually hear when the firehead didn't die. So yeah, like that was kind of why I went for the Ice Head when I did, like, and it is helpful because like, you already have one thing of ice on the ground, you don't have another, but yeah, I'm kind of relieved to say that you like didn't hear a good thing about my boss fight because I felt that they were like mostly a little bit calamitous. Again, Tempered Sword would have been nice, but can't complain, I guess.
Yeah, Tempered Sword definitely would have improved that situation, but that was very much a case of you took something like that and you made something out of it. I like that.
Yeah, I had lemons, made lemonade. We did it.
But I think that will pretty much do it for us. I'm looking down the schedule for the rest of the day. We do have another race on this channel starting in about an hour and 15 minutes. We'll have CS Tutor versus Malxanthalos. And again, that's in about an hour and 15 minutes for anybody watching live, 2:10 p.m. Eastern Time for anybody who's not but still catches this shortly here. And then tonight, 8:10 p.m. Eastern, on this same SpeedGaming channel, we will have a Spleeby versus Lin. So check both of those out if you're interested.
I mean, yeah. I've just seen quite a few of Malxanthalos and CS Tutor specifically, so I'm sure that one's going to be great. And yeah, with regards to one later on, I think I've heard great things about those as well, so definitely do so.
Yeah, and then other than that, shout outs to Malkier as our tracker for today, clicking buttons, letting us talk, and just big follow the runners. Their links are in Twitch chat for anybody watching live or anybody watching the VOD on Twitch, but we wouldn't have anything to talk about, anything to show without them. They are the big stars here, and they are the most important people, so throw them follows, especially if you liked any of what you saw today.
And just thank you to you guys for commentating and Malkier for tracking. Really appreciate it. It's always fun to get a restream.
Yeah, thank you guys for the volunteer. Sorry, yeah, thank you guys for volunteering. It's always definitely nice. And yeah, GG's again, Doc. Thank you for the race, and yeah, looking forward to game 3. It's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, GG's. We'll make it good.
Yeah, I am definitely also looking forward to your game 3.
Yeah, same. For me, thank you for co-commentating with me, Raj. Thank you, Dr. Bowser and rdwalshv, for allowing yourselves to be restreamed and for all this interview and everything. It's been brilliant. Make sure you give a follow to these runners, and thank you to our tracker, Malkier. And again, look forward to the races further up the schedule, of course, and keep following SpeedGaming 1 to 5 and a link to the Pass Randomizer 1 to 6 for more races with regards to this tournament. It's getting very interesting. So thank you and bye.
Yep, the number of races is starting to slow down a little bit as we get into the further stages of the bracket, but the stakes and the intensity are as high as ever. So that'll be it for us, and we'll see you guys some other race.